Hello, I'm Jerry Scheidbach, pastor at the Lighthouse and your brain masseur. At this point in the race, why continue trashing Trump? Well, partly at least because Trump is trash. Anyway, I mean, really, his attack on Cruz's father, that was way over the top, my friends. And since when do we take the National Enquirer seriously? I guess at about the same time we began taking the Donald seriously. But seriously, we've been trying to explain Trump ever since we began to notice that a significant number of people were actually taking him seriously. His supporters like to crow about that. They don't seem to understand what it is that we don't understand. I mean, I get the angry voter thinking, I think vainly, that Trump is their stick. He's their club that they're going to use to beat up the politicians that have made them angry. Well, what I have trouble understanding, however, is the sharp, savvy, albeit cynical voters who support Trump, who are otherwise very conservative, but they're willing to overlook his liberal inclinations and support him. That is puzzling to me. Now, I know it's a multi-layered thing, and no one answer explains every aspect of the phenomenon, but we're getting closer to a clear understanding of this all the time. Consider this insight. For example, Trump is perceived to be a successful businessman. Everyone agrees to that. You've probably noticed that a whole lot of very bad behavior on the part of Trump is excused on the ground that, well, he was just doing business. Buying politicians? Well, he was just doing business. From one side of his mouth, decrying manufacturing going overseas, and then from the other side of his mouth, making deals for his own goods to be manufactured overseas. Well, he was just doing business. From one side of his mouth, decrying the presence of illegals here and those businesses that hire them, while from the other side of his mouth, hiring illegals to work for him. Excused. Why? Well, he was just doing business. Using his money and his influence with politicians to get them to use eminent domain, to take by force property that he wanted to use for parking for one of his businesses from a widow woman who didn't want to sell it to him, and then get that government official to turn the property over to him for his own personal use. Nasty. Very, very bad, Mr. Trump. But it's excused because, after all, he was just doing business. He refuses to release his tax records. I know another guy by the name of Romney who tried that, and he got in all kinds of trouble. Trump does it, and hey, look, he's a savvy business guy. He's just doing business. If you're paying attention, he is doing all the same things politicians do that we hate, only he calls it doing business. Saying one thing while doing another, making backroom deals, using government for personal benefit, compromising his own avowed ideals in order to make deals, all of it. But it's all excused because, well, he's doing business. Trump gets a pass for doing all the same things we despise in politicians because he calls it doing business. So it's not politics if you do it when you're just doing business. So assuming Trump is the nominee, that groaning and moaning you're going to hear well up over the land when he starts pivoting hard left in order to get the support he needs to win the election. Because, listen, he can't win the election with the amount of conservative support that he has. He's never had the majority of conservatives supporting him. He's going to have to go after Bernie's supporters. And when he does, that moaning and groaning you're going to hear well up over the land from his supporters will be the sound of growing pains of his younger, smart, sharp, and cynical, but naive supporters who thought he was the non-politician. They're going to discover that Trump is the quintessential political creature. It's already happening. For example, remember in December of last year, Trump declared, quote, Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the H is going on, end quote. Well, now he says that was only a suggestion. Okay, how about the wall? Is the wall only a suggestion? How about deporting all the illegals? Was that only a suggestion? What you're going to find out is that Donald J. Trump is going to do what he has to do to make the deal, exactly like a politician. And for all the same reasons. Pragmatism. Man, you've got to deal with reality, dude. Hey, compromise in their world is the name of the game. He's going to say, hey, I told you I'm a negotiator. And everybody knows you bid high to give yourself room to negotiate down to a realistic compromise. He'll remind you that he gets along with everybody, and he does it by making deals that everybody agrees with. You might think the brain masseur would look forward to the day Trump's smart, sharp, albeit cynical, and I think naive supporters realize that by supporting Trump, they have actually all along been supporting politics as usual. But it's not true. It's very sad. Sad for my friends, and it's a very sad day for America. We had an opportunity to vote for a Christian, constitutionalist, and full-blown conservative. I mean, social and fiscal. I mean, the kind of conservative that would never go for or support forcing American fathers to expose their daughters to being exploited by perverse men who can't figure out what gender they are and who want to use the bathroom with their daughters. Trump's okay with that, by the way. Remember, you voted for him. So whom will the brain masseur vote for? Stay tuned.